Hey everybody, it's Gypsy. So I decided to take that walk out into the woods that I've been saying I wanted to do. It's my first time this year. For those of you who have been listening to my videos for a while, you remember last year I started out the year in a wheelchair, and then I was in a walker for a while, and then after that, when I started using a cane, I had goals. I wanted to reach this point walking or this point walking. My biggest goal was to make it out to the woods. And I did that once last year. Now I could do it no problem. But it was funny because when I came back here, I was like, I wanted to get to this park bench right here. And I was like, wow, it seems so much, and the river seems so much closer than it did last year. I mean, it would take me forever to get out here last year, so I'm really excited that things are so much easier for me now. Yeah, it's such a beautiful day. These woods, they're so beautiful. This is called the West Woods. We have a park by that name, which is another place I want to take you guys before they start doing the entry because they're going to close the entrance and repave it or something. Um, Ansel's Cave is my favorite place in nature. I want to go there and do a video one day. But anyways, this is right behind our property. There's other properties surrounding. I don't know who put this bench here, but we all kind of share the woods. So this is the West Woods. It is called the West Woods because it's in the western part of Geauga County where I live. And this was the last place to be settled in our county because the woods were so thick, and they still are thick, so thick that it would be too difficult to clear land to make, homestead and, grow food and stuff. So it was the very last area. And so this was considered the least valuable area at that time. Um, and then when they finally did start, it was been an animal, clearing it. Uh, I'd say in the early 1900s, there was what was called the interurban that came from Cleveland out here. And the track was, right back that way. They called it the jungle line because they had to, you know, the train had to come through here, and the woods are so dense they called it the jungle line. But now it's like the most valuable because people want to be surrounded by the woods. So it's weird how things change through time. So, anyways, I was thinking this morning about self care and self first, which I think is very important because if you don't take care of yourself first, you can't take care of others. And it's, the plain analogy. I'm not going to go through that. I think we all know that one. So if you're not taking care of yourself first, you can't take care of others. So if you're in a toxic situation that's unhealthy for you, yes, you need to remove yourself from that situation. Now, what I've noticed from being human is that humans are extremist. Either way over here or way over here. People can't do the middle. It's almost like there's no gray area. Everything's black or white. But that's not how things really are. And we have to mature enough to see that. Now, sometimes in these situations that you have to remove yourself from, there are many times you most definitely, or say it's person, you need to remove yourself from that person on a permanent basis because let's face it, if they're beating the shit out of you and your kids or they're just beating you, you need to remove yourself and permanently. There are other times where it should be temporary and it should be done in love and not having a major announcement bragging about it, okay? Now, when I think about my life and I think about this situation with me, I always think about my relationship with my mother. I would say, like, my mom was a really fun person. We had a lot of fun together. But because of a traumatic childhood, she would have times where she was different. And I'm here in the spirit realm. Now that she's dead, it's okay to say that. Anyways, um, but when my mother was her true self, oh, we had the best. We had some great times, and she was a lot of fun. Um, but because of her trauma, and we all have trauma, so I am not saying that I am guilt free from this because I've done the same thing. I had to pull away. There were times I did not talk to my mother or see her for a while. It was never permanent. Yeah, the longest time I had to do it was after my son died. Um, I don't think maybe it was that necessary to go that long, but I was in so much pain. But anyways, what makes me think about this is all the memes I see like on all the social media, and no matter which one you go on, these memes are there bragging about, oh, how I've learned to get rid of people who are toxic to me, etc., and whatever, and I've done it in loving. Right, I get that. Okay. But I don't know, bragging about it just, I don't get it. And I do know, all right, I come from an era, we didn't have the internet. Okay, if I needed to talk to, all right, let's still use my mother as an example. If I needed to talk to somebody, I needed to vent or get advice, I would go to my best friend. Okay. And, you know, she's still my friend. We've been friends for 50 years. So if you guys want verification, I can get it. She could get on here and tell you in the comments. Yes, that's true. Okay. So I would talk to her. But it was not announced. The rest of my friends or whoever did not know. It was just my best friend. It was between the two of us. And even after she moved as an adult, I had another good friend that, okay, I would go to her. And what do I do? What do you think? Etc. There was no announcement. I did not wear a gold star on my chest because I was strong enough to kick my mother out of my life. In fact, I didn't really like doing it. I didn't like having to do it. I just needed that break sometime. When I look back, I think, okay, those times I had to separate from my mother or my family, which were always temporary, it was a growing period for me. In other words, for me, I did not have the courage or the strength to make the changes I needed to make for me in my life. I'm only second generation Italian. My mother's first. Things were very different, very old fashioned. So I had to um, step back from the family to make those changes. And then, you know, something would happen where we came together again. It was never permanent. And I love my family very much, and I love my mother very much. So it's not I hate mom thing, because I don't hate my mother. She had a very, very difficult life. And like I said in the last video where I talked about this, my mom taught me wonderful things I need to know for life. And we had great times. But that being said, I'm thinking maybe we should return our encouragement to being a little bit more private. Because, all right, for me, when I get on social media and it's somebody I know personally, I kind of have this feeling that they're going a certain direction with it, and it has an effect on me because I'm too close to this person. So that's difficult. Um, and I have made that mistake myself too when I was younger. Like, well, around that time my son died, right after my son died, I made a lot of stupid mistakes because I just wasn't thinking. And I did it then. But I think I've learned my lessons. I don't even talk about that stuff anymore. It is a sign of spiritual maturity to know when you're in a bad situation and to get yourself out, and to know when you might get a splinter in your arm. um, but also it's a sign of spiritual maturity on how much to brag and make it known. So I don't know. I mean, it's like I have mixed feelings on this topic. Yes, sometimes you do need to kick people out of your life, even if it's temporary. But do we want to keep bragging about this shit on social media? Because I think then you are encouraging people to kick someone out of their life who shouldn't be kicked out. It's like, oh, well, they're doing it and it's cool because everybody's got to get on the bandwagon, as we've seen. Or if I kick someone out of my life, then I'm spiritually advanced, I'm spiritually mature, which is not true. I think spiritual maturity is knowing if and when it should be done. And, well, I think spiritual maturity, when someone's spiritually mature, they don't brag about their spiritual maturity, if that makes sense. I don't know. And I'm not bragging. I'm just telling you my opinion. I mean, I could be wrong. You guys always hear me say that. I could be wrong. I don't know everything. And if I think I know everything, then I know nothing. I'm the most stupidest person on the planet. So, you know, we do. The problem with society, I think, is we've become so separated. All right, you go back 100 years ago to the earlier 1900s, the first half. Look at the design of houses. They were so different. Oh, were they beautiful houses? You had a big kitchen because that's the heart of the home. And always a front porch. Then I'd say about mid-century, they stopped putting on front porches and made the kitchen smaller. There's a plane going on. So this kind of, like, people weren't on a warm summer night sitting out in the front porch. And, you know, people stopped going for walks and stuff, so you didn't see your neighbors. It kind of first, like, kind of got where you don't see neighbors anymore. Nobody knows their neighbors. Where I live now, it's better, and I think it's changing because people see we need each other. And we do. We have to get back to community. Now, there are no saviors. I'm sorry, but I do not feel there's any saviors. You need to know how to be self-sufficient. But you also need to know how to be a community, and the community first starts with the family. So you need to take your self-sufficiency and also contribute it to your community. What we don't want to do is, although we want unity on a spiritual basis, not physical, because what happens is people take spiritual concepts and turn them totally 100% human and use it to their advantage and to our peril. So we want unity spiritually. I'm not talking about a new world order is what I'm saying. The entire universe has to be there for each other. We have to support each other. But you've heard charity starts at home. So you need to start with your family. Okay? Take care of yourself, then you take care of your family. Then you have your small communities, and you need to contribute to your small community, get to know your neighbors, and help each other out, especially with what's going on now. I mean, if a few years ago we couldn't get our hands on toilet paper, believe me, I know I couldn't. It was hard to find. That can happen with food. It can happen with anything. So if you have someone who is an expert in growing food in your community, someone who raises cows or pigs or whatever, chickens, you got that person. Everybody has a different talent. Some people, now there are things I don't think about that other people have talents for to contribute to their community, okay? And that's where what we need to do is we need to have our small communities, start with our families, have our small communities that we can get together and help each other out, work together, and police our own communities, govern our own communities. There's an ant crawling on my phone. It might cover up the lens. I don't know. Um, and that's where we need to start. And this vibration of unity will spread to the whole planet and to the whole universe. Okay, I'm getting woo-woo, I know. So, we have to be very, very careful with how we use these spiritual concepts, including the one of self-care and when to get away from toxic people. Okay, for people like me, and like, say, my son, spiritually, we can feel things that maybe someone else can't, and it gets overwhelming. And it makes it difficult to do these things. Because you can misinterpret if you are too sensitive. And I have done that, right, Mom? Right. She says, right. Because she did used to tell me that you were too sensitive. Well, it's a psychic shit, always going on and picking up everybody's vibrations. But yes, we need to be very careful with these spiritual concepts because, like I said, love for nature and the environment, well, the so-called bigwigs have taken that and used it against us. And are we truly the ones at fault, or are they? So you need to be careful. So the self-care, the self-love, self-esteem, that's very, very, very important. But never, ever take that to the extreme that you are booting out your loved ones, the people that care about you the most, the people you are supposed to be working with to get through this time until we get to the other side of our new, improved, ascended, beautiful planet, Gaia. Okay? So I'm getting really woo-woo, but always, always think and evaluate first before you go to some extreme like that. Boot someone out. Think about before you make a public announcement on social media, because when you put it on social media, then the whole world can see it. Now, in my day, I loved growing up in the 70s because, you know, we could do stupid shit, get in trouble, and nobody knew about it. So, you know, it's different. You got to think about that today. That's where you have to be careful with these spiritual concepts. And I am not saying I'm guilt-free, because I said I have done it in the past. I don't do it anymore because I learned my lesson. So let's start being more careful with our spiritual growth, because sometimes I think we are advancing so quickly right now because we are an extremely, and always have been, a very primitive planet. And so now we have decided we want to ascend, catch up with everybody else in the universe. It's a very difficult time. So this causes us to latch on to these new spiritual concepts we're learning and take them to the extreme. And humans have a habit of going to extremes, either in one direction or the other. So we need to get more in the gray area so that we can think clearly, use our intuition. Intuition is the most important one, because that if you can hone into your intuition, then you can't go wrong. Okay? So we need to calm down. We need to listen to our inner voice. We need to evaluate before we take action and make worldwide announcements and stuff like that. Think about what you're bragging about first, okay? If you know what to do to take care of yourself, you don't really need to make an announcement. And I think maybe example is better than saying it. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know everything. I'm just talking. This is my opinion. Take it or leave it. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm not sure. I feel I'm right, but that's me, because it's my opinion. But I could be wrong. I could be wrong. And I'm sure if I am, one of you will tell me in the comments. And I'm beginning to think of being attacked by bots anyways. Yesterday, I did a video about an update about the growth of my strawberries. A month ago, when I planted them, I showed everybody how I did it. Now I put these Dollar Tree laundry baskets I cut down and put around so that my berries would set up there. Well, in this video, I didn't mention them at all. I mean, they're there. I didn't mention where I got them, didn't talk about it at all. I get one comment, DT laundry baskets, that's genius. I didn't tell this person where, I mean, it looked like a typical laundry basket you get anywhere. Yet this person knew where I got them. Not a regular follower of mine, I don't think. And then later that day, I get another one, another comment. Oh my God. I can't believe, look at that. You're going to use those one season and they get thrown away in the trash. And that's why our planet is so filled with all this plastic waste. First of all, I said to this person or bot or whatever the hell it was, I said, if you're talking about the laundry baskets, why the hell would I only use them one season? First of all, my strawberries are already reproducing. I have all kinds of runners. And I'm going to need to protect them every year, so why would I throw them out? And secondly, it's plastic and it's newer, so which means it is recyclable. And I am surrounded by recycling centers. So I could tell that was bot because the extreme anger about something so stupid in a time where we have resources available to counteract that, and common sense would say that these things are going to last me more than one season, and you know, etc. It's really weird world. I don't get this social media shit. You know, I'm just trying to survive. It's all. Anyways, watch out for the internet is what I'm saying. Whether you make announcements about what your personal life or whatever, a lot of these, there's a little creature somewhere around here bouncing around. A lot of these comments and things are not real. They're setups to get you going, to get you angry. And that's what I picked up on yesterday. Something I wasn't even talking about. And how did this person know where I bought them and etc. And then a comment on the same subject when that was not the subject of this video. It was the subject of last month's. It was weird. So be careful. And that's another reason you need to watch what you're posting, bragging about, etc. Because these bots are probably, well, hired by you know who, so they are watching. Okay, so just be careful. I'm starting to ramble, so I'm going to wrap it up here. I'm going to leave you with that. Blessed be, and make it a joyful one.